Alrighty, welcome back. I'm Dylan.
I'm Elle.
And we both love soup. All right. So I'm going to start off with a question that was actually asked of me on one of my work meetings. You know, at the start of a meeting, people don't always show up on time. So there's sort of that dead
zone,
air.
the dead zone.
And I know, God forbid, I leave it be dead. I'm usually talking and saying hi to people and doing
always fill silence.
Filling silence, randomly chit-chatting. And I had shown at our quarterly meeting that we did a podcast, and this one person said, you know, why did you start a podcast? And you could tell they asked it in a genuinely curious way, but it kind of came across as a little like, all right, I could get pissed at you for asking that, but no, I'm not. I'm going to be joyful. And specifically, they're like,
why was it snarky question?
Well, maybe it was. I kind of heard a little bit of it.
Take it as a snarky question?
No, and then they specifically said, because you're going to run out of topics if if your thing is, you know, you're Gen X women.
I can talk about nothing. We can talk about nothing for hours.
And that was kind of what they're implying is,
or not talk.
Unlike
about
you know other podcasts that have a theme like it's a sports or whatever, we're just talking about just random shit.
It's like the Seinfeld.
Yes.
It's like Seinfeld.
It's a podcast
show about
nothing.
Yeah.
And so that I said too, I go, we'll never run out of things to talk about because with each other, we have the liberty to just, and the comfort to verbalize a constant stream of random thoughts.
Diarrhea of random thoughts.
Going through our head without fear of judgment. And
Yes.
I think that really sums it up and why I think we've heard us talk about this podcast as being kind of like therapy because we can get things off of our chest.
Right. We did have that whole episode that we had just come from Bunko or Book Club or something that we really did kind of
we
rant.
were vitriol, yes.
Yeah. Because it was annoying and, you know, so where else are we going to air that other than she and I just sitting there at a winery, which is what we used to do. Which is what we used to do.
So basically, we're sitting now in a studio with a cocktail instead of at a winery, talk about the same stuff we would, and instead of an occasional person walking by and hearing clips of what we do, we've opened it up to whoever wants to listen to our idleness.
We'll be here all week.
Yes. So that was just one of those, but that whole just... we're going to be able to do this ourselves.
Yeah. As things change, too, you know, we've gone through changes with your weight and my health and all of this stuff. And as we get older and even as Miranda, you know, we had a lot of topics about Miranda's wedding. And as Miranda, you know, she, you know, has children or whatever. Exactly. Yes. She'll add to the content. And Zach could, you know, add content. It doesn't just... There's changes in lives that.
So yeah, that was something, and then it was just like, aha, okay, that's funny. And then yesterday we got invited to a new group of women.
Yes.
It was through a friend of ours in our current group who had gotten invited to this Facebook group. And then through that Facebook group, one of the people in there created a subgroup of women to get together. And then our friend got us an invite, and we showed up yesterday at 5:30.
It was lovely.
And it was at...
it was hot.
it was hot, and we got to meet 8 new people.
Yeah. I would say more like 4 new people.
Because the way we were seating.
Yeah, I really didn't meet the 4... I mean, I guess I kind of met, but didn't really talk to probably 4 of the women. So 4 out of 4. 4 out of 8.
Yeah, so very encouraging. You know, some of them had played or were thinking about playing pickleball. It wasn't like there was this like instant, oh my God.
We didn't have the
all
love
these
connection that you and I had. That was unfortunate. But
first we had the hate and then the love connection.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. So that maybe it's just you and I don't like anybody. No. I don't like anybody when I meet them.
But wow, I had fun.
But
we
actually,
stayed
I
out
did
with them until...
everybody was very nice. Yeah. I liked everyone.
3 hours we spent with them.
Yeah.
And we're going to do more stuff. And then the one reached out to us today, and she actually listened to the podcast already and had found some commonalities in it. One of them knew one of the friends I knew from when I was in PTA at Great Oak.
Yep.
So they've been in the community for a long time.
Yeah.
Several of them
a lot of
live
people
just
like
across
you
the
who've
street.
been here a long time.
Yeah. I've been here in the team for 20
Whereas I would
years.
argue that our other group is made up mostly of people who, like me, were transplants about 5 years ago, because that's kind of what brought us all here and what brought us together was like 5 years ago. We met.
But holds some promise. So one of the things we're going to do with a few of them that I think we've talked about before is we're going to go do that bungee workout.
And I think there was one
women who don't want to really work out,
want to have fun when they work out. I would argue
that's a go with a couple of
fun way to work.
Couple of them.
Yeah.
But
and I think I want to try to see if we can generate a little more pickleball excitement. We got a little bit of a lukewarm response to pickleball, but either people hadn't played or maybe they just hadn't really. If you play only with people that are really, really good or really not very welcoming, sometimes pickleball can be a little cliquey.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think we could maybe.
And we're just having so much fun with right now it's 1 day a week.
Yes.
The group that we have. It's just so much fun for that hour. We're like, we need to repeat that at least one other time.
Right.
And if the people we play with can't because of their other commitments, we need to find another because we really, really want to play.
I would like to play twice a
with
week.
the women's group and then 1 day with our husbands. And then I think we would
3
be
days a week would be
pickleball
great.
satiated.
Yeah. 3 days a week would be awesome.
So
I could do that.
Yes. Interesting quote. I always, memes, quotes, I eat those things up like musical lyrics. One of them was, if you look at your circle of friends and you're not uplifted, maybe you don't have a circle. You have a cage.
Ooh.
Isn't that profound?
Yeah.
And I think that's, we don't want a cage, man. We want to fly free.
It's not that there's anything wrong with anybody we're friends with, and we had a wonderful bunco thing, but that's all kind of we do with them. There's not a lot of, none of them, a few of them are into pickleball, but like none of them really are into biking or pickleball, or so we're just trying to find.
So we have a once a month thing.
Yeah, and they're lovely. I mean, they're a great group. We enjoy them, but we just need a little more peeps like us.
Variety.
It kind of goes back to our first episode where it's like we're trying to find our peeps, and finding your peeps is difficult at our age.
When you don't have don't have an office, and because I work with some people that I know if I live close to them, absolutely would do something. But on that note, one of our listeners is actually coming to Temecula.
Oh, that's right. You were saying that.
On July 27th.
You actually pay attention. Do we have listeners? Oh, shit.
Oh, geez.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
we got a little dog action going.
Evidently, there was a package or something being delivered.
Yes. Okay, we hear you.
Yes.
There are a lot of dogs in here. We have 4 dogs.
There we go.
4 dogs today.
And so, one of our listeners coming into town reached out, and we're going to go do a winery with her. So
awesome.
looking forward to that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, end of the month. Can you believe we're in the middle of July?
I know. I was just realizing our little coastal trip is coming up August 1st, and it's like 2 weeks away. August 1st is 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I guess
isn't that crazy?
I guess it is. Yeah, and that's when I'm going to be going to Mom's too. I've got to do the Tour de Lavender.
The Lavender
ride.
Tour de Lavender.
So. Yeah, summer heat. We've had 2 weeks of some pretty intense heat, and have had to
almost
change.
100 a couple days. I think
a lot of the country.
100?
Yeah, a lot of the country is having that. Only worse than us because they're getting more of the humidity than we have.
We've got a lot of humidity the last couple days, and it hasn't even been as hot. It's been 85-ish instead of 95-ish. Yeah. But I would argue I would rather have 95 and dry than 85 and humid. On the bike, I am just drenched. I am always, but it's just
that was a common theme last night with our new lady friends too.
Everybody's sweaty. Who's sweaty?
It was the sweaty
who
betties.
Sweats and who doesn't sweat, and I was amongst the sweaters.
Elle left a really nice butt print on the chair that we were sitting on.
So lovely in my shorts.
It was perfectly,
it really
perfectly ass-shaped butt print on the it was like
Thank you. You just said my ass was perfectly shaped. I'll take that over the fact that I moistened the pleather of the chair.
Yes, it was very George Michael. Mm-hmm. Very George Michael. But yeah, the summer heat is forcing us to do things early. Like you've been riding every morning.
I've ridden every day.
I came with you this morning, and we did a bagel run.
We did a bagel run. Yeah, when I ride normally, when I ride without you, I'm actually fairly serious. But when we did our bagel ride, I did ride in a low power. I was on the bike. I've been riding acoustic more, which are regular bikes. And I rode 2 days this week on my regular bike, and it killed me.
Because if you're not back and done before 10, it's
I had to
stiflingly
stop
hot.
at one point, and I was holding my helmet against my head, and it was running. The water was running out of the pad in my forehead. It was a little warm.
I can pretend to know what that would be like.
You have no clue.
I have no clue.
Pretty princess over there just has no clue what it's
But
like.
then, so what we've been doing is we've been heading to the coast. So
Yes.
and just getting in the car, driving 20 minutes, get to the coast where it's 15 degrees cooler.
Yeah,
doing
we found some
activities at the
pickleball
coast.
courts that are pretty decent. They're not that far away, and they are close enough to the coast that you get a little coastal breeze.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do that this weekend, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, pick somewhere.
Yeah.
That or either do the indoor courts. But the indoor courts, as nice as they are, their air conditioning, even when fighting the 100 degrees,
80
only gets
degrees,
it to
yeah.
about 79 or 80
It was
degrees.
80 the other day.
And that's
And I
so-
am having difficulty with my vision indoors because all of my
to
sunglasses
adjust.
are prescription sunglasses, and they're made for sport. They're made for biking. They're made for that. All of my prescription glasses are made for cutesy, and none of them are cutting it on the pickleball court. Like I'm sweating, and
You're
then
gonna
they
need
fog
to
up.
ask Gordon for the new set.
I may have to get another pair of like athletic-y glasses. I don't know.
And then we went last weekend with the Merrills, who had come back from their honeymoon,
That's
to
right.
go do some top golf. Yeah, we drove a little ways and did that, and that was fun. But one of the things which was interesting, because we were thinking it, but then to hear Miranda articulate it, which is just the sheer volume
It's
of
chaotic in there.
places.
Yeah.
And just it gets me to thinking about the increasing volume of life. A
Right.
lot of places, like one of the places we went to last night.
The winery that we were at last night was so loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see it. It just kind of puts you on edge. But to hear a Gen Zer say, man, it was just
Yeah, I
too
kind of
loud.
thought that was our gen that can't stand loud noises and all
It
of that.
flusters
but-
you. It really
yeah.
does fluster you.
I mean, it's in a SpongeBob episode.
Yeah.
SpongeBob, I can't see you. It's too loud in here.
That's exactly how I feel sometimes. Or I just can't focus on anything when it's that
Well,
loud.
like you're in the car and you turn down the radio when you need to focus.
Yeah, you need to focus on the driving. Casey does that all the time. Oh, can you turn that down? Like when we had the book on
Yeah.
on our road trip, he's
It's
like,
an
"Oh,
instinctive thing."
traffic. Can you turn the book off?"
Yeah.
I can't handle the two
Can't
things
handle
at
it.
once: the driving
But
and the.
it's not. Yeah, it's not just places like Top Golf. A lot of them are that way. Don't want them to be loud.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Cougar yesterday, it was so nice because we were like some of the only people there, and it was just peaceful.
Were you outside or inside?
Yeah, we went outside,
Oh wow.
and it was just
Well,
peaceful.
they do have nice breezes up there.
It's like you can have there's like a formula, like two loud things. So it can either be the music and the talking, or like your group talking, or it can be the entire environment, and then your group can be loud. But at Top Golf, it was every single group was drinking, therefore every single
They were
group was
loud,
loud.
yeah.
Every single music speaker was blaring. You also then had an activity that was somewhat loud, like
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna go for the yellow thing.
Cracking
It's
the balls.
intense.
And the fans were
The
loud.
fans were loud.
Yeah, there was a
And
lot of
people
ambient
asking
noise in
you
there.
Questions constantly, like, you guys want another drink? You guys want another
Yeah.
drink? And I'm like,
Uh,
I can't keep up. And then you
sensory
guys are-
overload.
Yeah.
And then we're like trying to catch up on the honeymoon. I'm like, I can't have a conversation.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
way. So we all just kind of, not that it wasn't fun, but we all just kind of sat around a table
And
Yeah.
watched.
and watched.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, but I can't.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I'm with
was.
you.
It was too much. Too much.
I also suck at golf, so it's no fun to do anything you suck at that badly.
But finding activities where maybe it isn't quite so loud, because we felt that less yesterday, and you could see all of our bodies sort of tense up. There was
Yeah.
a physical reaction.
Well, when we first
from
got
all
there,
of us.
most of the women walked out into the other bar, which
Yeah,
is not even
outdoor
bar,
bar.
which is outdoors. I think to just get out of the cacophony of sound.
noise, too much noise.
Yeah.
So today's topic we picked is one you could probably go on for hours and hours and hours, but we thought we'd at least snip into it now. Probably we'll revisit it in future episodes as well. But it's, what would you tell your younger self? And, that gets you into a whole spiraling thing. So we each took some time to think about, pieces of advice we would give to our younger selves, as well as maybe saying something we thought when we were young was going to be important that
I
really
couldn't come up
turned
with
out
anything
to
for that one.
not
I'm
be
sorry.
important.
I definitely I could come up with a week's worth of shit that I would tell my younger
Well,
self.
why don't we kick off? What's
All right.
the first
so
thing?
obviously with my pain and everything else, it's like, take care of your spine, take care of your body, take care of your joints, take care of your knees, wear sunscreen, all of those things that are just taking care of your physical being.
It reminds us of the Baz Luhrmann song. Yes. If you guys haven't seen that.
Always wear sunscreen.
Yeah. I think it's feel free to wear sunscreen or something. But the line in there is wear sunscreen and take care of your knees. You'll miss them when they're gone.
When they're gone. Yeah, exactly. You definitely, I just didn't think about those things when I was younger. And I used to, I have 6 older brothers and sisters and a dog crawling into my lap. I have 6 brothers and sisters. And I probably helped each one of them move 5 times over the years, and carrying heavy boxes up and down stairs and carrying furniture and lifting with my back, not my knees, even though even my knees would be bad. But just all of those things they tell you not to do, I did. Yeah.
And thinking you're immortal, and so it's like, oh yeah, I'll just keep on going, power through.
Right.
Well, one that came to mind for me was people either can inspire you or they can drain you. And early on in your life, you hoard and you want to have a lot of people in your life. And the older you get, you sort of thin that herd and only keep the good ones around. But younger, you give your energy and attention to a lot of people.
Deserve it.
And many of them just drain you.
Yeah.
And I look back at the people that I cared about what they thought, and some of us are like, that was just bad for me.
Yeah, kicking people out of your life that are toxic. Yeah. That is a huge one. It took me a long time to learn that one. And And
just really having the courage to choose who you spend your time with.
And who you waste your energy with, too.
And to be able to cut bait, because there was always that fear of, that the cutting bait or being ousted from a group, and
or
so
being
then you
seen
would
as
comply.
a bitch. And quite frankly, at this age, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care if people think I'm a bitch, because I don't want your drama in my life. And we've come across this a few times lately.
And but to say that they drain you. They really, really, there's no better way to put it, but they drain you. So
vampire friends.
Yes, they're parasitic. But that would be something I tell my younger self is seriously assess those relationships. Surround yourself with people that challenge you, that inspire you, and ditch the others, because quality, not
people
quantity.
That make you laugh, people that bring you joy. If you're not having joy with your friends, they're not worth your time.
No. So how about you? What's another one from you?
Oh, I just had one. Brain fart. It's kind of along the same lines of keep taking care of your body, but stretching.
Yeah.
Being flexible and stretching, because you don't realize how important that plays into everything. My knees, my back, everything has to do with flexibility and creating habits. Young, I was skinny, really skinny most of my life, and so I never created good habits, eating habits, and good exercise habits and things like that. I didn't do yoga every day, and I didn't eat healthy and all of those things. And now I'm paying the price for it. And if you can create those habits when you're young, I'm going to get up every morning, I'm going to eat a good breakfast, I'm going to do yoga, I'm going to meditate, those things they're going to save you in the long run, and your life is going to be better for it if you can just create habits when you're younger that will carry over. And that's big.
And then those habits too will attract the right people to you.
Right. So that goes along back to that other thing. Yeah.
Grab in there.
Because when you are tired and out of shape and just tired and you're all of that sort of thing, that's who you attract into your life. You attract other people who are drainers and other people who are sad and broken and all of that sort of thing. And when you are not broken, you attract into your life people who are healthy and happy and
or the things you're doing. Oh, you're in a softball league because you're enjoying being in a softball league, and so the people you're with are out there doing something versus clubbing every night or something like that.
Or just staying at home and watching TV and spiraling down the negative YouTube
Nothing
channels.
wrong with a good Nestivus every now and then.
That's totally fine. I love a good Nestivus, but Nestivus for the rest of us.
Nestivus, yes.
But yeah.
Well, my other one is very Susie Orman of me, but invest.
Oh, yeah.
And not only invest money early, even little bits, but invest in yourself as much as you can. So that whole, never stop learning type thing doesn't have to be formal learning.
No.
But, a skill, invest in yourself in healthy, like you said, habits, mental wellness. Be aware of what, the triggers are and don't just internalize it. And, invest in your happiness.
Right.
Whatever that may be. And then, of course, the savings one, just the simplest example is if you just take advantage of one of the most basic tools out there. Everyone talks about, 401s. Always get your 401k match if you're with your employer. That's just like no brainer.
Right.
They offer 4% match. My God, contribute 4%.
I would argue real estate. Real estate is almost always
we're a little
good
spoiled in that it's so epically profound here in California, not so much in other places.
I would still argue that real estate generally, it doesn't go up as much in other places, but it goes up. It almost always goes up. It almost never goes down.
But I would say before you even do that, if your employer's offering a match, that's free money. Always contribute to what the Roth is for the year, and just let that sit, because that's after-tax money. And if you do the power of compounding, you start at 20. It is infinitely easier than when you start at 30 or 40 or what have you.
I didn't start investing until I was almost
most
40.
Don't, because you're living, and it's so hard, especially now in our economy of late. I barely have enough to get through the month, and you're asking me to put away $250 a month into a Roth. But it again comes back to that habit, and if you do it early on, makes a huge difference, especially if you do it really, really early, like when you're, first starting to work in 2021. Then, if you have to take a break when you're in your, kid years or whatever, you still have that money that's working for you.
Right.
And it's much better there to do that.
Right.
Because, pensions are a thing of the past.
They are mostly a thing of the past.
Mostly a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Let's see. Miranda, how about some advice from you in the ripe old age of 27? What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Drink water.
Ooh, I like that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't really start drinking the water that I'm drinking now.
Yeah, just drink water.
I would argue to you, my advice to you would be to not have gotten married so young.
Well, that was going to be a next topic.
Is that on there? Sorry,
I was going to bring
I
up.
beat you to it.
So I think we've alluded to here. I got married when I was 20.
Yeah.
Didn't get married because I had to, i.e. the pregnant thing. I had finished college because I finished college a little early and already had job offer.
You finished high school early and college early.
Known my
so you were
husband
really
for 8 years already because we grew up together. And so literally graduated from college and got married,
I still think it's
3
hilarious
weeks
you
later.
couldn't drink at your wedding.
Can I interrupt you on that?
Yep.
Because as somebody who kind of followed the same thing of I dated Brett for 5 years, like we lived together for 3, and I was like, let's get married. I was basically begging him, and it did start some fights where I'm like, why aren't we engaged? Why aren't we? And then finally at 6 years, even still I go, oh, finally at 6 years. You're telling me Ed was the one that was like, oh, let me pop the question out, or did you have those conversations where you're like, Ed, why aren't we married? Like who started it? Because as I just got married, I reflect on it. I don't regret getting married younger, and now that Brett's realizing it, he's like, yeah, why didn't we get married like 3 years ago? It was not as big of a thing as I thought, but he's like, I kind of get why it was important to you, but still, like, why did you start these fights over that? So then I think to you and Ed, I'm like, there's no way Ed.
Your dad.
All right,
Me,
I'm
I
gonna
can't wait.
This is going to be the brutal, honest things. I've said this before. Ed married up.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that was his fear that I would realize that and I would find somebody else.
So he really was the one that's like, oh,
it was both of us. It was both of us because my parents had just gone through a nasty divorce. I was looking for security in my life, and
That makes
He
more
had
sense.
been there for me through the worst times. He knew more about me than any other person because he was my friend before he was, my boyfriend. And so there was a security with him. There was that desperate need to just want to go off and just kind of separate myself from the family. So that was my need on it. And then Ed was seeing if she's going to be going into an office, her world is about to open up, and I probably won't measure up. So hey, maybe we should just get married.
But see, I would argue to both of you, I think you missed out.
I
missed out.
Yeah.
I didn't get married till 27.
You were not married, but you were with somebody since you were 21.
Oh no, I don't think that's missing out at all.
You don't know because you don't know what you missed.
I didn't cancel things because of him.
Okay.
What do you think I missed? The going out?
Yeah, maybe you didn't.
Oh gosh, I was blacking out left and right. Like Jesus, he was picking
not
me
that
up
that's a
out of the
fun thing,
gutters.
but it's an experience traveling when you're young and doing things like that. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe not you. Dylan did not. Dylan did not go out and party.
I had a
she
baby,
had kids.
baby on my hip, for my 23rd birthday. So
yeah, you waited until you're 28 to get married.
That would
so,
definitely be a piece of advice, and not to be disparaging to Ed, and a lot of people in our generation did do something very similar to me, and they married young. It was kind of
and a lot of them are divorced.
Yes.
But see, I'm even right now. I'm going, married young, but I just got married officially in the books at 27, and Brett's 28.
Yeah, you're not
That's
that young.
not young.
No, that's not
I think
young.
that is pretty.
I think
you
that's
waited.
the national
I think
average.
that's perfect.
Yeah, because then you think of
unless you go through your
childbearing
Saturn
years is
returns
30
and have
to
some
35.
epiphany.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you, that's 6. I think in the last 6 years,
I
of
had
what has
you
changed in my
at
world.
28, so I had 2 kids by the time you got
Yeah.
married.
I'm like, 6 years. I don't think I've changed as a person, but like, for lack of better words, I was different 6 years ago.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
had me
absolutely.
planning a wedding 6 years ago,
Yeah. Oh, and I was too.
what? Like, it would
I
not
absolutely
have-
wish I'd done that different.
Yeah.
Do I also believe had I waited, I would have wound up with Ed? There's a good chance I wouldn't have.
Why not? You think you would?
Because she realized that he was marrying up.
No, because
But there are
as
such
much as
unloyal
much
guys
as
out
I
there.
yes,
Yeah, it's
that
true.
he
I hate to
has
admit it, but you
he has
probably
some of the
would've
he's
found-
ticking the boxes, but we are more different than we are the same, and maybe it's because as we've gotten older, those differences are bigger chasms, and I don't think it did me any favors, and I think it didn't do him any favors. I think we would have developed into different people, and I would have liked to seen what that would have been. And I feel like I would have maybe met somebody because I was going into an office, I was in Chicago and all that might have nurtured that more competitive, driven side of me that your dad tamped down. Or maybe I would have been a hellion and it would have been my ruin.
Well, so
I don't know.
Here's an
never
interesting
settled down, would've
quote
worked.
I've always heard is women get into marriage or relationships hoping that the man will not change, and he doesn't. Or the man will change and he doesn't, and women get into or
Men want
get
the
into
woman to not change.
Men want the woman to not change, and they do. And I
Wait,
feel
can
like
you repeat that?
Yeah, sorry. I
So
said
men
that.
want their women to stay the same, look the same, act the same as the day they married them. Women are always hoping their men will evolve.
Right.
And it never
it's
happens.
almost the exact opposite. Men do not
I
evolve,
want the
and women
opposite.
evolve. Yeah.
I want to change. I want Brett to stay.
Yeah.
Brett is.
So, and I'm not saying, we joke around about, my relationship, tongue in cheek and all. I love Ed to death, but I do think that there are times in our life that we weren't the best for one another. And I think a lot of that was because I'm going to call it growth was stifled by the fact that you
got married so young. Yeah.
And that those pivotal 8 years of growth, better or for worse, we didn't each experience those in the way that a lot of other people do. And, I think that's part of why now in my 50s, I'm looking back with some level of regret because I missed out on that decade to do something. And now I'm like, oh God, I want to try this. I want to do this. I want to do that. Meanwhile, he doesn't want to move forward with me. He wants to just kind of be like, we're fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
And why are you so restless? And I think my restless nature is coming from the fact that I didn't get to have
You didn't
that
get to sow your oats.
30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like party girl and craziness, but
just-
there's like other things I would have done, even like things I would have pursued in my career. I might have left Chicago earlier, but we were anchored there because of our family and just things like that. Or it could have, like I said, been my ruin. I don't know. But for my younger self, I would have cautiously said, there's no reason to hurry up. Pump the brakes. And it'll be okay. If it's
find
meant
marriage to be a very interesting thing, because while I love Casey and I would never trade him in for anybody, and I would never.
Now, you were how old when you got married?
35.
35. So a big difference.
Yeah.
15 years difference.
But there are times when I'm like, my mind and my life is no longer my own. And that drives me crazy because I don't like that. Like
we both love, and there are some people that absolutely hate it. We both love it when we can have the house to ourselves.
I love having the house to myself. And my husband never
And
leaves.
I get that more than you do, because mine goes off into
Casey
wandering.
never leaves.
Yeah, and he is tied to you like a full-on Duras.
Yeah.
And
And
people
sometimes
say,
that's great. We're best friends. I mean, we have a blast together. Normally that's a great thing. Just sometimes, like even your comment the other day, it's like, oh, we could go on a river cruise with the girls, and I'm like, I can't do that. Casey would not. It's not that he wouldn't allow me. I mean, if I really said
Whereas
I really
Ed
want to,
would be like, when are you going?
Yeah, when are you leaving?
When are you leaving? For
But
how
like
long?
that fact that I cannot do that is something that it's not. It just changes how you look at your life. It is no longer my life is no longer 100% my own.
But then the broadside to that is, so you have Casey who like genuinely nurtures and looks out for you. Perfect example. We go
Absolutely.
on bike rides. And Ed's practically getting me killed with going off, running through
running
lights.
red lights.
Casey's
Yeah.
always mindful, like, oh, we're about to go down a steep hill. Let's make sure that the girls are okay, and particularly Elle. I could have crashed on the side of the road, and Ed would have been miles ahead and not have noticed where I was at.
Yeah.
Do you not think that that's because he respects your level of like
No.
Dylan can do anything?
I do not think so.
Because Brett does the same thing to me. I don't think Brett's ever looking at Miranda going, oh my gosh, did she make it over that bump? I'm almost doing that to him, watching him fly over the handlebars, because I'm like, oh, here comes a sand pit. He doesn't know how to do this. And then sure enough, I look and he's like,
he dead sailored.
over.
Well, it's funny.
It's kind of like a respect
we
thing,
just
though.
had
Like,
this.
he knows you.
We just had this discussion because my cousin just was climbing in the Dolomites and broke her ankle or broke her foot and sprained her ankle and had to be airlifted in Italy.
Just happened.
And yeah, it just happened.
At
like
the front
Wednesday.
end of a 3-week vacation.
Yeah, at the front end of a vacation. And I would argue that I think her husband
Pushed her.
You have to remember that we're 56 years old. I mean, we're 50, and yes,
I didn't mean pushed and like shoved her. I mean like, hey, you can do it.
no,
kind of.
exactly. And Meg would never in a million years say, I'm worried. I don't think I can do that, because she is tough and she would never do that. But she did voice some concerns to me. You know, I think there's some
there's a harness.
I think there's some harness and crampons involved in this, and that's exactly what did her in. Her crampons did not hit the ice.
Those
They were
damn crampons.
climbing on ice, and it slid out from under her. Anyway, my point is, and I do have one, is that that is one great thing about Casey is he, if anything, he's almost the opposite with that. Like sometimes we'll be looking at a bike trail and he'll be like, I don't know, that's a blue. I don't think you can do a blue. I think you'd be miserable on a blue. What he really means is I'd be miserable on a blue because I'd be watching him. You know, he'd be miserable watching me. So he does take his role of protector very seriously.
And you think I should look at it through a different lens, which is Dad thinks I'm so competent, he doesn't need to protect me. I don't know. You haven't been on these
That's how I
rides.
feel he looks at me. Like,
No.
when we go on bike rides, he does not look at me because he's like, oh yeah, she'll make it through that. And I like that.
I think Ed
Like,
loves
I'm like,
to be
"Don't
on the
look back
bike
at
and
me."
is just totally oblivious to the rest of us when he's on a bike.
Yes.
I think
I also kind of agree. Yes, I was just posing.
I've thought about on some of these rides faking like a terrible and like being in the and seeing how long I would lay.
You did crash. When did we? You
I
crashed
tipped over on
recently.
the
You tipped
rocky
over
ride.
on the
I
rocky
hit the
ride.
curb, and he wasn't that far ahead. He noticed I had tipped over.
But Casey's like, Ed, your wife. Like,
Yeah.
he's screaming at him.
But I would like to fake like something more epic and be like off, the side, and have him wonder where's her body, what happened to her? Because there's sometimes we have air tags on our bikes, and I put air tags on my dogs, and so it gives me a proximity warning, and he gets so far ahead or off on his own that the Apple AirTag warning goes off on my phone saying Ed is no longer in the vicinity. It's like that's how far away he is.
That's
We're
pretty
not
far.
talking. He's a couple 20 feet ahead. I could have completely disappeared and he wouldn't know where I
He
was
takes
at.
a different path sometimes, a totally different trail than us. Yeah, like
Okay, you guys have proven my.
sorry,
point
Ed,
wrong.
3 under the bus. But Ed has some very, very good qualities. That is not one of them.
That is not one of them. No, he's not.
He's not. But I mean, Casey knows I'm broken and falling apart. So like, he's really good at pointing
So
out the
I feel now I
sidewalk
have to throw a compliment to Ed. Ed is one of the best MacGyver-like
Oh, he
people
is,
I
yeah.
have ever met. I would give William another person that we know here. But and we joke about the zombie apocalypse of who we'd want to surround ourselves with. Now, granted, would we really want to be living in that time? That's one other story. But if we are, and we're aiming to survive, you need an Ed with you.
Ed is like my brother
He can
Chris.
fix
Yeah.
things. He can, solution things. He knows a lot about a lot, and he's expert in a few things. Yeah,
and he's smart.
and he's smart, and he's not violent.
No.
It's the things you would not want to have in the zombie apocalypse. So those are some of his.
he's a good guy.
His best.
And a husband. I mean, not to like turn this super dark, but there are some just horrible people out there.
Yes.
Where manipulative.
Oh,
like,
awful.
That's the last word I think of when I think of Ed. I'm like, he's smart, but not smart in that way where I'm like, he's not manipulating us.
No,
Like,
he's
there's
not.
no thought in that guy's brain that he
right.
is doing a
I'm
certain
never thinking he's
action for-
deliberately trying to hurt me. Now, does some of the things he do hurt me, emotionally because I'm like, oh, I wish he would think more about that, or he doesn't take me on vacation. But he is not out to emotionally attack me or
Right.
I never.
And
fear.
there are people. I'm not
agreed.
going to just say men, but there are people out there that have so much baggage
Oh my God.
that
You look at them in a relationship and you just like all I can say is like my heart breaks for that girl because I'm like, gosh,
yeah.
she's just
He's kindness to animals. I mean, that to me, if you're looking for
Yep.
to rate
Yeah.
things, if a man is kind to animals, that says so much. And
100%.
Not just like a certain, like, oh, they're a dog lover. Kind to all living
animals.
things.
You can be everybody. Everybody loves a dog. Dogs are easy
he
to love, but
pauses
tell
for
me,
a rattlesnake
Yes.
and he takes a photo of it. I'm like, that right there,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's key.
that's good.
Yeah, 100%. That's the
I
number
complain
one
about
thing.
the spider. He's not squashing the spider unless it's a black widow or a recluse, and we think it could harm us. It's getting relocated. I'm saying it's like if I'm ever
Casey
caught
will-
someplace
we
I'm
are-
not supposed to be, respect me and just move on.
Our kitchen is ant central right now. We have
Same.
so many ants.
I've
it's
got
crazy.
clove spray for you. You should take the clove spray.
I close all the holes. That's
Oh, that's a good idea. But we've used the indoor spray that's good for the cats. We've used the
you used
traps that are
clove?
good for the cats. I finally went to Home Depot. I bought the little stakes that you put in outside. Casey won't let me use them.
Because they're poison.
They're poison. Yeah. And I would argue that's a good thing. But I'm like, I don't want ants all over
know.
my cat food every morning. Every morning.
Walk into our kitchen right now. I have painter's tape everywhere because
Yeah.
every day I just go, oh, thank you for showing me where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Plugged. And then
What
I
are you
say,
plugging with?
Painter's tape.
Planners.
I just
painter's tape.
I plug. I'm like, good. That's a lovely hole you're coming from.
No.
Plugged. The next day they'll show me the next hole. I'm like, oh.
I thought about actually running a caulk bead along your underside of my baseboards.
Take the clove spray and let me know how it works.
We have orange oil spray. I don't. It just stinks up the house.
Well,
and I don't
clove
think
makes
it-
smell like Christmas.
Oh,
But then the
Yeah,
new
I'm using
perfume I
vinegar,
picked, Miranda
so-
thinks smells like Christmas.
we
It's
use
called
either
waffle
Windex, which is vinegar, basically, or
ammonia.
ammonia. So we've been using Windex on the countertops, and then the orange oil spray.
Not good. We've only had a few ants, but nothing.
We got rid of them for a while. They were gone for a while, and then they came back with a vengeance. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, well, especially as it gets drier and they seek out moisture.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
But we can't.
Anyways, don't get married young.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't give me
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
back to our
okay,
topic.
whoa,
we
there we go.
really went off on a tangent there.
All right. So a lot more things we could say about that. The next question that you said you didn't have anything for was
Not really.
something you thought was important, but really wasn't.
I mean, I kind of agreed with yours. I just didn't come up with my own. Oh, yeah.
So-
Sorry. Say that again because I was talking
Yes.
over you.
Something you thought was important when you were younger, but turned out to really not be. And one of the first ones that comes to mind for me is I remember being young and, starting my career at the Federal Reserve and whatever. I used to admire the women who would either be, pulling up in a nice car as I'm taking the train. They had a nice watch. That was back when people wore watches as status symbols. Carried a nice...
We wear watches now.
Yeah, Apple
Well,
watches.
Fitbits and Apple Watches.
Had a nice designer handbag, pulled up to a gorgeous house. They always, okay, that's the next step. That's the next step. That's the next step. Now, I admire the woman doing whatever the hell she wants mid-morning on a random Tuesday.
Yeah.
The person who has the freedom of time. So the shift for me has been away from things to time, and how can I get my time?
And also adventures. We admire a friend of ours it seems like the whole summer
weeks.
she's been gone on vacation.
She did a Rocky Mountaineer trip, our dream trip.
Yeah.
She did. If she goes to the Galapagos, I'm just going to lose my shit.
Yeah, I'm going to lose my shit too.
And she took 2 weeks in Europe on a Viking river
cruise. Yeah. And so she just has been traveling, and I would argue that makes me jealous. That makes me.
Yes, we had the green-eyed monster comes out on
Yeah.
that one because that's what we want in time. Not to say that when you're younger, I mean, you need money to do some things.
Right.
I mean, I'm not sitting there
Right.
saying, hey, man, just eschew all things money and don't go through any success. But damn if I wasn't too laser focused and missed out on some things because I was striving for that when really what's going to matter in the end is time. And I love that that's a collateral consequence of COVID, because I really think it it caused people to stop and really reevaluate what they wanted.
What
and
is important.
Now this whole, people demanding work from home or more flexible schedules, not that all of them are, but people are reevaluating that and deciding what is important, and like what Casey got out of COVID and being able to, the time he got
to
back
work
in
from
his
home.
life.
Yeah, 2 hours of a day of his life he got back.
And just, to the whole, what would you do different if you were retired? Whatever the fuck I want.
Right.
And that's the thing you don't necessarily have when you sell yourself for all those other things. So
Right.
freedom of time is worth more than anything money can buy. And that is absolutely something I would have said to myself. You still got to make money, still do some of that investment, still do this, but damn it.
But how important is that pair of shoes or that purse
tap
or whatever?
that out.
Like
Oh
you
my
do kind
God.
of look at that and go, yeah, because I spent a lot of money on
and
shoes and purses
I had
and stuff.
MCM. What was I doing with an MCM handbag?
Yeah.
$2,500 handbags. Why?
Yeah, because you can't retire with that.
Yeah,
It's
Louis
like,
Vuitton shoes that hurt my feet so fucking
How much
bad.
joy do you get out of those things? We've had the discussion about my
Your Yves Saint Laurent.
Yves Saint Laurent shoes that I still have not gotten their worth out of because I've worn them maybe 10 times in the last 10 years. So, yeah, and again, those are. I get what you're saying. Like you looked at those people and you're like, that's what
That's
should
my measure of
have."
success.
And
now,
that's not my
people
measure
in
of
my mind
success.
are more successful the ones that are getting to have experiences. But like I said, unfortunately, right now, with how expensive things, you need more and more money just to get basic necessities,
Right.
and then to buy yourself that time, and that's sad. But I love that your generation, Miranda, is setting those boundaries early. Right. Here you are in your 20s, and you value that as well. When you were shopping for jobs, you were interviewing them as much as they were interviewing you, because you didn't want to have a Gestapo type lifestyle at your job.
Well,
But you knew you had a base amount of money you had to make. So
I was going to say, ironically, because then I was like, oh, what would be my thing that I would say? And my answer would be, I grew up thinking you needed to make $100,000 or more to be able to even do the next phase of life, which is buy a house and have kids and la-da-da. And so the reason why I ended up in a job where I had no time and was basically waking up just to kill myself and like work for another person was because I was racing to this 100K mark. And then full transparency, I hit it and I literally quit the job to take a lower paying job.
yeah,
Right.
Because I was like, oh,
buy my time. I need to buy my time back.
What?
So
Like,
many
no.
people struggle up that ladder of a success only
Yeah.
to get to the top and realize they don't
So
like the view.
I'm so thankful that I found it
So-
In your
early on.
20s.
Stephen Covey quote.
Yeah.
And then now, sure enough, yeah, you can buy a house and only be making,
And I didn't find that until, my late 40s.
yeah.
Right.
But, well, now I'm like, again, I can't be making $0
Yeah.
and go buy a house. But I don't know where I came up with that number in my head. But truly, like from age 18 and on, I was like, oh, I'm going to college. I'm going to do a science degree because science people make on average 95. I will make
It's
sure I'm
because
in the-
society's telling you. They're pushing.
Yeah.
They're pushing
Read
it.
any Apple News article. Read any Wall Street article. It's always taught. Now they're throwing out if you don't have $1.6 million saved for retirement, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And
it's-
they've got people.
It's that extra 300,000 that Casey now says we
Yeah.
have to work another 5 years for. It's like, oh, well, fuck. Now we're.
But see, even that, I guess I challenge it because it's
Yeah.
like, do you or
That's what
or
I'm
are there
saying.
Other ways.
I think there's other
'cause
ways.
Brett is big on that. That's why I'm like, thank God that we agree on this. Not that I think he's going to quit his job tomorrow, but he's like, I don't want to work a job. We need to have multiple
Income streams.
sources
yeah.
of income through real estate.
so you can
through
have your freedom
this.
of time worth more than money.
Exactly. And then like.
But the man still likes buying thousands of dollars worth of pavers, so
And
he's
then,
got
yeah,
to
and
balance
then-
that.
But I agreed, and I'm like, well, I want a backyard that I can go work in. Like, yeah, we work from home. I want to be able to sit in my backyard and enjoy California that we just bought a house in, and the best part of California is the weather. Like, that's why we're paying so much.
Right.
Let me sit outside under an umbrella on a picnic bench on my patio. Okay, we're gonna build our patio then. So yeah, we just dropped $2K, and we're gonna lay 500 stones tomorrow. But it's like. That's what makes us happy. We're going to be outside. We're going to do it ourselves. It's going to save us $1 bajillion, etc. But in my head, the thing, what was the original question? Like, what would you go back and tell
So
yourself?
this was something you thought was important, but really
Yeah.
wasn't.
I
Yeah.
thought that number 100 was truly the only way I would get to what I wanted. And I'm now 75% through the way of my life goals, which was get married, buy a house, have kids.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've done.
You're way
2
better
out of
off
That's
than-
that's 66.6.
Thank you so much.
6%.
And here I am going, oh, I thought I had to go into science, maybe because I love science. Do I even love science?
But you are doing science.
Question mark.
You're editing science questions.
Well, now I'm an educator
Yeah.
in science. Like,
Which
if
is
I
kinda
never
goes-
put that 100 mark, maybe I would have found that, oh, actually, I am a great teacher. I do want to do coaching. I do want to do this. I loved art growing up. Like, not saying that I wouldn't
Sounds
have.
like you have a little career ADD.
I do. And I've
always said that
you've
about myself.
quit 6 jobs. We can.
Yeah.
That's a whole.
And
separate
that's okay.
podcast, but
Yeah.
Whereas
It's totally okay. Yeah.
And mine, it was, oh my God.
Back in
God
the day,
forbid you
you
not
never
stay
quit
at
a
a job
job.
for like 7 or 8 years.
My dad worked the same job he hated for 35 years.
Yeah, no.
35
and
years.
your generation
and he hated
doesn't
it.
tolerate that. And that is something that's very admirable.
Yeah. And I think that's a good takeaway from that is that
No, I just came on my
Do what you
15-year
love and the
anniversary at
money
my
will
current
follow.
I'll say
company.
add that to the list to tell your younger self. Is
Oh.
you can quit your job.
And when you were talking about the pavers, a thought came to me. You will never, ever, ever regret sweat equity.
Yes.
You will never regret that because
gosh.
we've done it. Every house we've ever had, we've had put sweat equity into
I'm
it.
not gonna regret our wedding.
You'll never regret it.
Yeah, I will not regret that. Sure, we went 15K over budget. I'm not gonna. Already, it's been 2 weeks, and I'm like, I don't regret it.
Good.
Like,
Good.
And even still, the wind, like out of our control, whatever. Don't regret it.
It makes for great stories.
Yeah.
No regrets. No
We've
regrets.
used a lot of it. We were talking with Joe for her son's wedding in 3
Yeah, we
weeks and
given
gave
her
her
lots of
gave her
advice.
some tips on stuff. So she was thankful. I was like, just don't go overboard with something like table decor because you just don't know whether it's going to even get used. So don't sweat it. Don't buy all those fresh flowers and
Yeah.
what good stuff. It was
Buy
beautiful.
the umbrellas.
Buy the umbrellas, the parasols.
And I did have 3 people comment on a photo I reposted. Like, where'd you get those umbrellas? I'm like, okay, it's $88 for just 10 of them, but buy them
Yes.
because it's so important to have.
Yeah.
And we told her that too.
Yeah, we told her
It's
that,
like,
too.
Besides looking freaking adorable, they were so useful.
They did almost break in the wind, but we had an enormous.
Yeah,
amount
you
of
had
wind.
bottles of wine getting blown over in the wind.
The table blew over.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of wind. All right, back on topic.
Yeah. So I came up with this 6 luxuries of life list that I just started with. Time, we talked about. Health,
Yep.
a quiet mind. And what I meant by that
good
was
one.
the ability to spend time with yourself and be okay with yourself and take care of yourself. Slow mornings. I like slow
love a
mornings,
slow
and
morning.
I would want to carve that out
Yep.
more in my past. I never had slow mornings. Oh my God, growing up. Ability to travel,
Yep.
and of course, a house full of love.
That's good.
You could give me those 6 things, man.
It's a good list.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll work on that one.
Yes.
The morning, slow mornings are key. You know, and I would argue this time of year is really tough because in order to get on a bike, you have to do it in the morning.
Yep.
And so there is no such thing as a slow morning.
Slow morning, your day is screwed.
In California, if you want, or in Southern California, if you want to exercise at all or get outside at all, you have to do it in the morning.
Yeah.
And, that
then
goes,
when you have a
guys with
day
your
job-
pavers tomorrow, you need
Yeah,
to
when you
get
have a
up
day
early.
job, it's hard to have a slow morning because the first thing the companies usually reward is who's in early, who's getting the day
Yeah.
going. And then if you work on something where my time zone for my company is more Eastern Central and I'm West, my mornings start at 6.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it because that's 8 or 9 to them.
I've been prioritizing my bike riding. I used to
You have.
prioritize getting up, getting on my computer and doing the projects, and now I'm like, is anybody going to notice if I'm gone for an hour and not finish this project? If I don't finish this project until noon, and I realize no one is going to notice.
You being
I
self-employed.
know I am the boss, but still, I would argue that it's true of almost anybody. Is anybody going to notice 1 hour
Yeah.
that you're missing, unless you have meetings that you're supposed to be in? But if they're not going to miss you, push it off.
And get
Work
the
a
work
little
done.
later in the day when it's hot like this.
Yeah.
And get your time in the morning.
Flexibility of time.
Yeah.
You guys haven't mentioned the importance of sleep. Was that never a problem for you guys? Because that's a big problem this generation is people don't sleep.
It's a big
full
problem for
6
people
hours.
older than us. I would argue you and I are good sleepers.
Yeah,
so that's not a
we
thing
are
for
good.
us.
But okay, so I'm thinking back. So when I had kids, and was I getting enough sleep?
Enough sleep and good sleep though. Like
I think
prior,
I've
like,
always been a pretty good sleeper, except when I started to go through menopause and was doing
Yeah.
the hot sweats at night. That's
I
the
would
only
never.
time I'm
I mean,
not a good
even
sleeper.
when Zach was a baby and you were a baby, you guys were such good babies, and your dad was fabulous about that. We had a rule, and it was the 2 a.m. rule. So we would regularly get you guys to bed, and if we'll use Zach as the example, baby made any kind of noise to wake up and it was before 2:00, that was my shift. If it was 2:01, it was Ed's shift. And rather than sit there in bed saying, can you please go get the baby? It was in stone, and we held steadfast to that. That made all the difference in the world. And I knew, okay, if I went to bed at 9:00, I was going to get this level of sleep, or I knew from 2 until 6
Didn't you
when
breastfeed? How did you do that with breastfeeding?
I only breastfed for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, until I went back to work. They didn't have good
that's
pumps
right.
back then.
That's right.
They
Yeah.
had those hand jobbies, and that was no
That
good.
does not sound like the right word.
No, but it was extractors. Yeah, no. So no, I don't think in my life I have ever felt particularly sleep deprived. There's been times where I don't, dread an alarm, but now I wake up before my alarm.
I wake up before the alarm.
Well, actually, the furry alarm. Sometimes.
Yeah, the furry alarm clock wakes me up.
They
more
look
than,
at you, and it
Yeah.
it's hard to sweet
and
dog.
get up. Meow.
I think
Meow in the
it's
face.
a new problem then because of the whole doom scrolling thing.
Yeah.
Like there are times where I'm ready for bed, I could be asleep, sound asleep by 10:30, but I'm watching Love Island or I'm scrolling on TikTok.
That is a problem. They say
that's
you're
an
not
hour
supposed
of
to
sleep.
bring your phone to
boost
bed or watch
Exactly,
TV at
yeah.
night.
I
That's why I
love my
bring it up.
Hatch little sound machine. I know that people think that's a conspicuous consumption thing. She does. I turn it on at night. She does her crime for bed, so it's like a 15-minute short story, and then it plays me a little music, and then it goes into white noise, and it has a little sunset light. Love my little Hatch
I just
device.
read. I
Yeah.
read before I go to bed.
But so yeah,
That's
I would
it.
say sleep has not
It's not been an issue. I know that's it's a huge issue for my sister. My mom never slept, and my mom didn't sleep before she was in, whatever. She's a worrier, and if you're a worrier, you can't shut your brain off. And I think my sister's the same way. She doesn't shut her brain off, and then you don't sleep. You have to learn to block out
Yeah.
the noise and
I would not
learn to
complain
quiet
about
your
sleep.
mind. You
so
were
like
just
my
saying
whole thing about
quiet your
slow
mind.
morning isn't necessarily that I'm dreading waking up. It's I like to be able to what's it called
Hurkle-durkle.
and just slowly get into my day. Whether it's you wake up, you kind of prop the bed up, you do a little stretching, you pet the dogs, maybe you check in on the news, and just make yourself you go grab a glass of water. Or,
I would love to do yoga in the morning, but I
and
don't.
just slowly
because it's
crescendo
just
into the
not.
start of your day, rather than damn. Here you go. 6
Yeah.
a.m. You got to be talking about, this particular topic.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not up at 6 and that's the struggle, but it's
Right.
that
No, it's the using your brain
Yeah.
instantly
Slow
as soon as
morning.
you get up.
do a few Spanish lessons,
Right.
just get into
and
the day.
forcing, for me, forcing myself to get on the bike, it's like, I gotta get on the bike. And I love being on the bike. I mean, I should
Once
want
you're
to
on
get
it, you're happy.
I should want to get on the bike, but I love being on the bike at like 10 o'clock. I don't love being on the bike at 7:30. And
Not in
that's
the
what
summer.
and that's what I have to do in the summer.
So we could go on, like I said, on and on.
Yeah,
I'm
this
sure we'll
topic is
revisit it when we
endless
have
topic.
Yeah, and then but wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
So
But we'll do another one.
for sure.
Supplemental.
Drink of the show is actually
Is gone.
A derivation of one of the cocktails we've talked about, our summer Temecula Summer Cocktail Trail. And Elle and I last week actually went and finished enough of them that we earned some prizes. I got the blanket.
And I got the bag.
And she got the bag so far. Blanket is adorable.
It
It's
is really
plaid.
cute.
It's got a nice little backing on
It's
it.
got a backing so that like you could bring it to the beach and it
Super
doesn't get
good.
sandy. It's really nice.
So
I want
we
one of
have,
those.
I think, 15 more drinks still to do
We
before
gotta go.
August.
We got to go drinking.
I think, yeah, we got to go drinking.
Maybe this weekend. Let's
and
pick
this
one.
was one from the cocktail trail. It was called the Queen Bee, and it's gin, passion fruit, honey infused with lavender, lemon juice, and then I cut it with sparkling water just to take it down,
Just
it down.
better,
and be a
'cause I
little-
don't like 'em
because
sweet.
even Zach was like, "Ooh, that's a wee bit sweet."
Ooh.
Um,
Sweet tooth over there.
It's good, and I garnished it with a cherry and lemons, and I got these cute little cute little sticks. I got?
Super garnishy cute.
It
Yeah,
was
I
at
know.
like Home Goods, one of those random
Of
things where you're
course.
standing in a long ass line and you're just saying, "Oh, that looks like something I
And
should
they're
buy."
wood, which is nice.
Yes.
They were plastic. Oh, and they make a nice tone when you
Yes.
throw them back in the glass.
Soup of the show. I saw this one pop up on my feed, and I'm like, "Oh my god, talk about super easy." Creamy cheddar cheese soup. Now, right now, it is hotter than
It's a
hot
vat
here.
of cheese.
It is a vat of cheese, and it is basically cheese, butter, and onions.
Yeah.
But
In Wisconsin, they make it beer. It's a
Oh, you
beer.
can
They
cut
add
it with a little beer,
in it, and you go into most restaurants in Wisconsin in the summer, and or anytime, and you can get cheesy beer soup or something
fall,
like
my gosh! Right now, I think that's just a little. That's a little too rich for.
that. I would
for me.
argue all soup right now. I just
Other
eating.
than my cold soups that you keep.
I poo-poo your cold soups. And poo-poo.
Yeah, you're like, that's a slushy. That's not
Yeah.
a smoothie. That's not a soup. But yeah, creamy cheddar cheese soup.
Sounds
we gotta
delicious,
do that
but-
when we get some fall weather.
Yeah.
And fall decor is already out in stores. Have you seen that?
I know. There's a whole Holderness
Holderness
family.
family.
Did you see that? I love them. God, they're funny.
And then that. Oh my gosh! And what she did with the bra pads? How
The
she
bra
made
pads, and you know what I
the
posted?
biscuits.
Have you seen the Katy Perry dress?
it looks like bra
It
pads.
looks like the bra pads, and
It
I
really
actually
does.
posted it on the Holderness family's website on that posting, and I said,
Katy
as soon
Perry?
as I saw this, I had to post it because it's like it's
You're
exactly
right.
the same dress, only not bra pads.
All
So,
those
yeah,
biscuits.
all the biscuits.
All
We've
those
had the biscuit discussion.
We've had
so
many,
yeah,
many
the
a
Holderness
biscuit.
family. What's her name? Holderness.
Kim.
Kim. She and
She
I.
has a biscuit. That's where
agree on the
cakes come in
biscuits.
handy. Throw those biscuits out. And just put the
Right
cakes
now. We
on.
had some cake lovers last night.
Yeah, there
I-
was a few people that gave the thumbs up on cakes, and a few people who did like
Right.
you were saying, which is I like loose clothes, so
Yeah.
I can't wear cakes. But I say I can wear them with loose clothes. The dress,
my cakes right now.
yeah, and
no.
I had a loose dress on yesterday, and I had the cakes on. But then again, because I'm not a sweater, my cakes
It's
aren't
the
flying. off.
sweaty thing factor combined with the loose clothes thing that I
Yeah.
think you're forgetting.
Book recommendation. Now, Miranda, this is one that I think you finished on your honeymoon too. Mad Honey, by Judy Picoult.
Love that one.
Did you
Love
like
Judy,
Mad Honey?
Judy Picoult.
I liked it, and I also read the epilogue. Is that the
yeah.
end?
Yes.
And she tweeted, she woke up from a dream, had an idea of the book. She tweeted the girl she co-wrote with. I don't know her name.
I don't know.
And then that author, so she co-wrote the book with somebody. And then the author was like, sure, I'll write that book with you. Sounds good. And that's how the book came. So I was like, that's so cool that, like,
yeah.
I know you were talking yesterday.
just
You're like,
cool.
oh, I think I want to write a book. Is
Yeah.
that something like that is really inspiring?
If I give you my books that I've already started, will you finish them for me?
I won't finish them, but you know what? I'll co-write.
Will you
this
co-write with me?
current book
I have-
that in my head. I'm like, I have an idea. I already have.
Oh, Elle's got like
I have
3/4
3.
written.
Yeah, I'll
No,
co-
they're not
maybe
written. I
First
have
thing I'll
them
do, I'll co-write
outlines
one,
done.
but I really think I would struggle to jump in the middle of something.
It's not
and
in the
be like-
middle. You're at the beginning. I'm at the beginning. I have outlines done. I have the storyline done.
I could be the editor.
I haven't written.
I'm a great editor,
hardly
even though I
anything.
made
Yeah,
4
I think-
mistakes on Miranda's newspaper.
I was in a writing class, and one of the women commented, "It seems a little." What was the word?
This
she
was the one you did with Michelle, right?
Yeah. And then she was like, "It's a little juvenile or whatever." It's young adult fiction is what I'm writing.
So hopefully it's juvenile.
And I was so turned off by that, I never went back to that class again.
Yeah,
I know.
because you were like so. When I first met you, you were gung ho about that class.
I really wanted to write a book.
I'm turning towards I'm gung ho on like life goal of I will write a book.
It's
And
on my
preferably
it's on
sooner
my
than
dream
later.
page, or what do they call that? Your dream
Vision board.
Vision board. It's on my vision
I would
board.
love to write it in the next 5 years so that, like, oh, I like writing. I'll
Put
write
that on
another
your
one.
bingo card, Miranda. Write a book.
Yeah.
What are some other things on your bingo card?
What's bingo card?
Well,
What do you mean?
vision board bingo, your bingo card. You know, your life bingo card.
What
Things you
time
want.
frame?
It's life
Or I'll say next,
in your lifetime.
Yeah, in your lifetime. What are
Chickens.
things you want to have? Chickens.
Goats.
I would,
Yeah,
all-
you
I
want
too
to
would like
a
chickens.
homestead. You want to kind of like
Yeah.
homestead type thing.
Yeah, I've given up on my dream of homestead,
Yeah.
which is really sad.
All of our friends who
Do
had
that
it
while
now
you're
are
young.
selling it.
There's advice for you.
Yeah.
If you
That's
want a
kinda what I'm
homestead,
saying.
do that while
that's
you're
kinda
young.
Like write
Because-
a book now. Have a homestead
Well,
now.
the
Like, you don't-
homestead now for sure, because we know 2 people, and myself,
3.
kind of 3, myself included, who always wanted to have the land and always wanted to have the farm, waited too long, and now they're like, "Oh my God, we're too old to do this. We're too old to do this."
it, and they're moving into the 55 communities.
Oh, believe me, Brett and I agree. Our next place is
Yeah.
land.
And you've already
Absolutely.
gotten like thousands of dollars worth of equity in your current house, so that's
and
nice.
we already have a backyard where Brett is truly, he's gotten the 5 planter boxes. We ate his peppers, and you know, I got a 4th cup of blueberries on it. Sounds silly, but like you start somewhere, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I just ate a snack.
Hey,
from
wait
our
till you
backyard.
start jarring things. I have
Yeah.
I canned tomatoes
She
one
made
year.
so many
Oh, he's
pickles.
got
I made pickles.
20 tomatoes. I don't eat tomatoes, but I'm like, I can puree those. I'll turn it into a soup. I'll find something.
Do you like tomato juice? Because it's really makes really good tomato juice.
No,
Throw some vodka in that there tomato
Yeah,
juice.
there
I
you go.
don't like that stuff.
Oh.
But anyways,
I do.
Anyway,
I love tomato.
okay. Moving
So
on.
that
Let's
leads
finish this
to
up.
leads to you cannot add days to your life, Miranda, but you can add life to your days.
I'll write the book tomorrow.
There you go.
There we go.
Easy.
Start it.
Yeah, so yeah, we talked about the book. Song that has been living rent free in my head. Strange Currencies by REM. It's been featured and really resurrected
On The
because
Bear.
of the TV show The Bear.
Yeah.
And that show does a lot of REM songs.
They do it. I would argue the soundtrack to that
Is
TV show is
excellent.
awesome.
And it's a lot of REM and a lot of people covering other songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't had Strange Currencies come up in my playlist in a long time, and I forgot how much I liked that song.
Such a great song.
So take a listen to Strange Currencies by REM.
And then I was thinking about the Baz Luhrmann "Always Wear Sunscreen" or whatever the name of that.
You're free to wear sunscreen.
Which was an 80s, 90s. I don't know, what's that?
Yeah.
It's like basically somebody giving a speech to
It was
a soundtrack.
mistakenly attributed to being a Kirk Vonnegut speech,
Because it
even though.
does sound like Kurt Vonnegut.
But there's parts of it that I think were taken from Kirk Vonnegut, but then, you know, as lore would have it, people attribute it to Kirk Vonnegut.
But it's not,
It's
yeah.
no, it's an amalgamation of people, but it's a
Yeah.
catchy little ditty.
And then, but then what it also keeps coming up is "Dream On" by Aerosmith. The every time I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clear. That's exactly how I feel. It's like, oh shit, the past is gone.
Dream on, dream on.
Yeah. All right.
Good
well, that's
times.
it. I'm Elle,
I'm Dylan,
and we both love soup.